Hey, what's up guys, Evil94 back again, and in this review we have the Hasbro Star Wars The Black Series, the Mandalorian version of the Imperial Stormtrooper. Now that's what they label it. They label it the Mandalorian, but it's just a regular Stormtrooper. If I recall this correctly, the Stormtroopers that appeared in the Mandalorian were called Remnant Stormtroopers, and they had brownish to white armor. They were dirty, they were just the remnant stormtroopers after the Empire fell. So not sure why they gave us a clean version of it, but this is also good for those of you that have been wanting to army build some more stormtroopers. So here's your chance. So here's the front of the box. You can see that it is the new box design, which I do like. A lot of people don't like it, but I do like it. It's the same size as the original box, but slightly smaller because they cut off the corner here and made it angled and slanted, and we got a nice image right there. They also got rid of the number that they used to put on the side, so we're not numbering the figures anymore. That's something that we had since the first Series 1 of Black Series back in 2013. On the back side, we get this very dope image of the Stormtrooper, and then we have a read-up that reads, "Stormtroopers are elite shock troops fanatically loyal to the Empire and impossible to sway from the Imperial cause. They wear imposing white armor, which offers a wide range of survival equipment." Alright, so here is our new Stormtrooper out of the box. Now this is indeed a new Stormtrooper. It is not a repack of the original Stormtrooper that we've had for many years, ever since the beginning of the line. This is a whole new sculpt, a remold, a remake of the Stormtrooper figure. And of course we're going to do a comparison between this one and the old one to see which one is better, which one is the worst, or if they're both good. Do they look good together? Can you continue your army build from before with this new one? I guess we'll find out. Alright, so let's get close to the figure and check it out. Here is the head sculpt, the helmet, and I don't know if it's just mine or they're all like this, but it's a little bit kind of weird. It's a little warped, I think. The helmet's not perfectly round. It seems like it's lower on this side compared to that side, so I'm not sure. Maybe it's just mine or it's just a little bit warped from being in the package. But the helmet does seem kind of small. I don't know how I feel about it. Seems like it should be a little bit bigger or wider, I think. But nonetheless, here it is. And then here is the back of the figure, of course. And going down to the legs. Nothing too crazy here. We're just checking out the sculpt up close. And there's the torso again. Now, one thing I do want to check, because I saw a post on Instagram, is to look underneath the helmet. And it is true. It's not just a rumor and it's not fake. There is a head underneath there, so the helmet technically is removable. Although I am trying to remove it and it seems to be stuck or glued on there. I don't know how the person on Instagram removed that thing. Maybe they heated it up. But mine does not want to come out. I do not want to break the figure. But there is a head sculpt underneath there, and it is just white. It is an unpainted head sculpt. And the picture on Instagram literally has a face. It looks just like Jango Fett. It looks like the clone. So that's just very odd to me why Hasbro would do this. There's a better look at the head inside. It's just all white. It's the same color as the armor. Why would they go and sculpt a face, looks just like the clone, looks just like Tamora Morrison, and not paint it? I don't know what was their idea behind this. Maybe they rushed this out. Maybe they intended it to be sculpted, but this is such a missed opportunity in my opinion. That's my thoughts on this. This could have been an opportunity for them to give us just random heads, swappable heads with stormtroopers, where we can just remove their helmets, because clearly the helmet is made to be removed, and there is a head sculpt in there. Remove their helmets and just have a different person inside. Now, I don't want to rant on about this too long, but it seems like the clone trooper, the Camino clone trooper, is also having the same thing where the helmet is removable and there is a Tamora Morrison head sculpt inside, a clone trooper head sculpt inside that is all white, just like this. It's sculpted and everything, but it's just white. It's just not painted. It looks like a prototype figure, to be honest. Just so odd and such a missed opportunity for them to give us clone trooper head sculpts with our clones and our stormtroopers. I don't get it. So I managed to pop the entire head off. It comes off from the neck, but the head inside does not want to come out for whatever reason. It seems to be glued. And here's the post real quick. It comes from Kylo Collector, and somebody got the figure. Somehow they were able to remove the helmet. I was unsuccessful, but look at the head sculpt. It's just a white, unpainted head of literally Temuera Morrison. It looks just like him. It looks just like Jango Fett. Alright, so let's continue on. He only comes with one weapon, one accessory, and it is his E11, I think it's called, blaster rifle. That's all we get with this guy. The original release did come with 2 weapons, I believe. Alright, so I always like showing the weapons in their hands, so here it is. Here is the E11. I hope I'm saying that right, but here's the E11 in his hand. It's a nice tight grip, it looks good, and he holds it just fine. Look at that. Alright, so let's get on to the articulation of the figure, and I want to keep the blaster in his hand for a reason. We'll get back to that, but first we'll start with the head. As we saw when I popped off the head, it's on a ball jointed peg. It's not a hinge. They've been doing that lately. It's kind of their new thing. So the head looks up and the neck is articulated too, so that helps it with it looking up, and you can also crunch his back further, back, so he can look up more. He can look down about this much, which isn't too bad. He can tilt the head like this and swivel left and right. So that's what that ball jointed peg or the barbell joint allows him to do, is that tilt right there. Now the arms got movement going up and down, and as you see right here, we have the shoulder piece. The shoulder pad is on that soft pliable plastic there, so it does not hinder anything when you move the arm. As you see, it's nice and pliable. So it goes up and down, in and out about this far here, which is pretty cool. Now check this out. The original Stormtrooper for sure had bicep swivels and double jointed elbows and double jointed knees. Get this. This figure has single jointed elbows, single jointed knees, and no bicep swivel. Now before you freak out, give it a chance here. So no bicep swivel, right? We have a single jointed elbow, but the elbow, and this is why I want to keep the gun in his hand, still bends very nicely. That is a nice single jointed elbow. That bends just as much as a double jointed elbow. So it works out, and I'm fine with it being a single joint because it gives us that range. We have the swivel at the elbow. We have a swivel at the wrist with a side hinge here, and that's good because that's where he holds his weapon. So you can tilt it back or tilt it forward as so. Now, we don't get the bicep swivel, but we get butterfly joints, and we did not get that with the original Stormtrooper. This helps a lot. So we see right here, this allows the arm to go forward and further back out like this. So although he doesn't have bicep swivels and although he doesn't have double jointed elbow, he can still get his weapon to his chest, and he can even aim down his sights. Look at that. That's pretty amazing in my opinion for a figure to have single jointed elbows and no bicep swivel, yet he can still aim his gun. He can still look down his sights just like as if he had double jointed elbows. So it works out. Hey, this proves that you don't really need double jointed elbows to have good range of motion. You just gotta have deep single jointed elbows or just deep joints. That's all you need. And what this also does is, look, you don't see any pins from a double joint. Normally you would see 2 pins, one here and one here, and on the inside too. That takes away that illusion or those pins, and now you don't see it. It doesn't break the image of the Stormtrooper anymore. I think it looks a little better than the original now. And clearly, as you see, his left hand is a regular hinge, and he's got the hand sculpted to hold the under barrel of his blaster. Now for the torso, let's open his arms. We have a diaphragm joint that swivels, tilts, and goes all the way around, so that's some good range. We don't get a waist swivel. We get the swivel at the torso. The legs, they do not drop down, but they can kick forward about this far right here, and you can kind of twist it and have him kick even more forward. Go back down, they go in and out about that far. We get thigh swivels, single jointed knees that bend a little bit more than a 90 degree. Now you might wonder how the heck can you get him to maybe do a kneeling pose, and it looks like you can't, but actually if you twist this up here and then twist the knee, because that swivels now because it's a single joint, now you can get him on one knee and it looks just fine. This was not possible on the previous Stormtrooper that had double jointed knees. That is because when you have double jointed knees, you cannot swivel the knee. Down to the ankle, we have a hinge, we have a rocker, and that's it. We do not get a swivel. Here's a full shot of him being able to get on one knee perfectly just fine and aiming down the sights and all with single jointed knees and elbows. Amazing. So big thanks to those butterfly joints, because if not, that would not be possible. Alright, so this Stormtrooper is definitely growing on me some more as I review it, because he can sit down just fine, very naturally, looks good too, and you could not do this with the original Stormtrooper at all. Real quick, I wanted to save it for the comparison, but here is the original Stormtrooper, and I try to get him in a sitting pose, and that's literally the best I could do right here. That is crazy. Even if I twist the thigh, I cannot twist the knee because it's a double jointed knee and it does not have a swivel, so I can't twist it like I can twist this one here. So that's a big difference there, and in this situation the single jointed knee is actually better than the double jointed knee. So I'm still here playing around with him, having a lot of fun, posing him up, and just another quick simple sitting pose on the rock here. I'm slightly leaning on his knee with his arm on it and his other arm relaxed on his other knee. And I think it looks pretty good. Maybe just tweak a few things here. Got the gun on the side right there. And one last quick, just pretty standard Stormtrooper pose here where he's aiming his weapon at somebody or something, I guess I should say. So here is the main comparison that we are waiting for. This is the original Stormtrooper figure that's been released maybe 2 or 3 times already, including the retro vintage wave and the original release, and also there is a battle damaged version too. But anyways, it's the same body mold we've been getting for Stormtroopers for a while now. And compared to the new one, the original one actually is a little bit of a bigger scale, proportionally and height-wise too. He stands slightly taller. The helmet is bigger than the new one, as you see. So I don't know, that's what makes me feel like the new one has a small head, but maybe the old one has a big head. Maybe you guys can let me know which is more accurate. Is the bigger helmet more accurate, or is the smaller helmet more accurate, or neither? And here's a quick look at them from the side, and here's a look at them from the back side. And here is the other side, and most notably on the original release we had a holster on his utility belt or waist belt where you could put the long weapon or even the short weapon on there. He did come with a longer weapon. And as you see with the double jointed elbows, you see the 2 pins right here and also the 2 pins right there on his knee. The new one is a little bit more glossier, so I guess that's a little bit more accurate to the Stormtrooper armor. And then here's a look at him next to the battle damaged version of the Stormtrooper, which is the same sculpt as the one that was there before. Just has some black marks on his armor. So here's a look at him next to Darth Vader, and that looks good. Now they've made so many Darth Vaders already, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint which one this is, but I believe this is their 2nd or 3rd release of Darth Vader. I want to say this is a New Hope version of Darth Vader, but this is not the Darth Vader that comes in this wave with the Stormtrooper. That one's different, that one's new. I think it's a different sculpt. I'm not sure, but I guess I'll find out when I grab it. And there he is next to Tebow, which is the Ewok that comes in this same wave with the Stormtrooper. And here's a look at him next to the Heroes of Endor box set version of Luke Skywalker. And just one more, I'll get him next to Han Solo. And there's a look at him next to the Mandalorian and the Child. And here I'll throw in Captain Rex. And for my random comparison, I'll throw him next to Storm Shadow, the G.I. Joe classified figure. Alright guys, and that does it for my review of the new Star Wars The Black Series Stormtrooper figure. I started this review not really liking it as much as the original, and I ended the review liking it more than the original release of the Stormtrooper. Now I think this one's going to be up for debate. I think people are still going to like the original one for sure. And I do feel like there's going to be some that are going to enjoy this one more. What really appeals to me is the new articulation on this figure, even though he does have single jointed elbows and knees. I hope I did a good job showing off the figure and showing it compared to the original. And if you enjoyed the review, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already. And as always, have a great day. Bye.